Hello everyone and welcome to today's story. This is a beautiful and touching story about love, family and hope. It is called The Story of Helen's Family. In this story, we will meet Mr. and Mrs. Helen and their 4 children, Lylie, Hero, Emily and Sunny. They have a happy life, full of laughter and love. But one day, something sad happens. Still, this family learns how to be strong and keep hope in their hearts. So, relax, take a deep breath, and let's begin the story together. Mr. and Mrs. Helen lived in a small but beautiful house near the hills. They were old now, but their hearts were still young. Every morning, they sat together on the porch, holding hands, watching the sunrise. They had 4 wonderful children, Lylie, Hero, Emily and Sunny. Each of them was different, but all were kind and hardworking. Lylie, the oldest daughter, was a teacher. She loved children and always said, "When I teach, I don't just teach lessons, I teach love." Hero, the second child, was a doctor. He had a big heart and helped many poor people. He always smiled and said, "Every life matters." Emily, the third child, was an artist. She loved to paint the sea, the sky, and her family. Her paintings were full of colors and warmth. Sunny, the youngest, was an engineer. He loved building things and fixing what was broken. Mr. and Mrs. Helen were proud of their children. They often said, "We may not be rich, but our love makes us the happiest family in the world." Every Sunday, all the children came home. The house was full of laughter. The smell of Mrs. Helen's apple pie filled the air. Hero always made jokes, and everyone laughed until they cried. Those Sundays were the best days. But one evening, everything changed. It was raining heavily. Hero was driving home after helping a patient at the hospital. Suddenly, a truck lost control on the wet road. There was a loud crash. Hero never made it home that night. The next morning, the police came to the Helen's house. When Mr. Helen opened the door, he saw their faces, serious, quiet, sad. He knew something terrible had happened. Mrs. Helen dropped the teacup from her hand. It broke into pieces, just like her heart. She cried for days. The house that used to be full of laughter became silent. No one knew what to say. Days turned into weeks. Lylie stopped teaching for a while. Emily didn't paint anymore. Sunny sat quietly in his room, fixing the same old radio again and again. Mr. Helen tried to be strong. But every night he looked at Hero's photo and whispered, "My son, I miss you." Mrs. Helen spent hours in the garden, watering flowers that Hero once planted. One morning, she saw a small white butterfly sitting on a rose. It stayed there for a long time, almost as if it was watching her. Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled. "Hello, my dear Hero," she whispered. From that day, she believed Hero was watching them. Not gone, just living in another place, sending love through the wind, the sunlight and the butterfly wings. Slowly, the family began to heal. Lylie went back to school. Her students ran to hug her. She told them, "Life is a gift. Be kind every day." Emily picked up her paintbrush again. She painted a picture of a white butterfly flying in a bright blue sky. She called it Hope. Sunny fixed the old radio completely and played Hero's favorite song every morning. Mr. Helen built a small bench in the garden where the butterfly liked to sit. He called it Hero's Corner. On Hero's birthday, the whole family gathered in the garden. They lit candles and told stories about him, his jokes, his kindness, his laugh. Mrs. Helen said, "Hero's body may be gone, but his love still lives in each of us." Lylie nodded. "He taught us to care." Emily added, "He taught us to see beauty, even in pain." Sunny smiled through his tears. "He taught us to never give up." After that day, the Helen family changed. They laughed more. They hugged more. They said "I love you" every time they left the house. Mrs. Helen started writing small notes and putting them in her children's pockets. The notes said things like, "Be safe. Be kind. Remember you are loved." And every time they saw a white butterfly, they smiled and said, "Hero is here." Years passed. The children grew older, had their own families and children of their own. The little ones loved visiting Grandma and Grandpa Helen. They ran around the garden, laughing, chasing butterflies. Mrs. Helen always said, "Be gentle. That might be Uncle Hero saying hello." The children would giggle and wave at the butterflies. One day the whole family gathered again. All 3 children, their spouses, and 8 grandchildren. The house was full of life again. There were cakes, songs, and laughter, just like the old days. When the sun set, Mrs. Helen looked around and smiled. "Look at this family," she said softly. "Hero must be proud of us." A small butterfly landed on her shoulder, glowing in the golden light. She laughed with tears in her eyes. "I know, Hero. You are home." That evening, the Helens sat together, hand in hand. They talked about the past, the love, the loss, and the strength that brought them here. Mr. Helen said, "We cannot control what life takes from us, but we can choose what we give to life." Mrs. Helen added, "And we choose love." Everyone nodded. Before going to bed, Mrs. Helen looked at Hero's photo on the wall. The candlelight flickered gently beside it. She whispered, "Good night, my son. Thank you for teaching us how to live, even when you are gone." Outside, the white butterfly flew around the window, glowing in the moonlight. Life continued. The Helen family was never the same, but they became stronger, kinder, and more grateful. They learned that love does not end with death. It grows, it changes, and it guides us forward. And whenever someone felt lost or sad, Mrs. Helen would smile and say, "Look for the butterfly, my dear. Love is never really gone. It just flies higher." Moral of the story: even in the darkest times, love can heal, hope can grow, and family can bring us back to life. Hero may be gone, but his spirit lives on, in every smile, every hug, and every white butterfly that crosses their garden.